Johnson gives us an update on what's going on with official UFO disclosure. We've got that and a lot more to talk about today, so get in here. This is Jack with Cosmic Road. I talk about UFOs and the paranormal. Please hit like and subscribe and let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Okay, yeah, so Dean Johnson has a nice long post here talking about UFO disclosure, what's going on in Congress with the NDAA. So yeah, Dean Johnson gives us a really nice long article here talking about what's going on with the NDAA. Will the Schumer-Rounds Amendment be revamped? What's going on with whistleblower protections? What about the audit of AARO? That's what I was most excited about until reading this article. So let's go over it. I'm not going to read the article, but I'll summarize a little bit and maybe read a few sentences here and there. First of all, he talks about the Gillibrand ban on funding of non-reported special access programs. You know, the idea that a lot of the UFO stuff is hidden inside secret access programs. He says there's not any real new language in that amendment, unfortunately. So nothing really to see there. And then he discusses Kirsten Gillibrand's, recent statements. And yeah, so not a whole lot going on there, unfortunately. Then he talks about the audit of AARO, which I thought was really exciting. But he has a really important point. Dean Johnson, he says, some commentators may have overlooked that the December 2022 law that required AARO to prepare a comprehensive historical report on the government's involvement in UFOs also made the preparation of that historical report subject to a continuous GAO audit requirement, including twice annual congressional briefings by the GAO on the progress of preparation of the historical report. So yeah, apparently we were supposed to get audits anyway, basically. He does make the point that the GAO, the Government Accountability Office, is out of Congress, not the Pentagon. So I think that at least is encouraging, if nothing else. Then he goes on to whistleblower protections. Not a lot there. As you can see, it's a very short section. What happens next? Well, he makes the point that the House of Representatives has already passed its version of the NDA, and there were no UAP provisions there. So it's all going to be down to the Senate. Will the Senate pass some UAP language in their version to be reconciled with the House version and then go before the president? That's the only way we are going to get it. But that's the way it worked last time, and it did work, even if we did end up getting a neutered Schumer-Rounds amendment. He does add, however, over the past month, Senator Rounds has twice indicated to journalist Matt Laszlo that there are still discussions underway about reviving the Schumer-Rounds UAP Disclosure Act. If that is to occur, it would be through negotiations over packages of amendments when the bill comes to the Senate floor. That is the route by which the UAPDA cleared the Senate in July 2023, although it was later gutted in conference with the House, mainly due to opposition from the Pentagon. So there you go. The discussions are still underway to revive Schumer-Rounds, but we'll see if that happens. Either way, it doesn't look like there's anything super exciting coming up in the NDAA, at least per this reporting and of this moment. Meanwhile, Dr. Michael Masters has replied to all the excitement over the Nazca mummies after Gary Nolan came out very favorably for the Nazca mummies, taking them seriously, if nothing else. So what does Dr. Michael Masters say? I was very much looking forward to what he had to say, hoping that he would reconsider the Nazca mummies. Well, not so fast. He says, I did a more detailed critique of some glaring anatomical issues based on the CT scans in footnote 26 of our crypto-terrestrial paper, and with that have officially exited the mummy debate. So he is out. He is not going back in. And that's just the way it is. At least for now. Maybe if new information drops or if more people come on board talking about this, maybe he will too. Meanwhile, on the live stream the other day, I was asked about Dr. Dan Burisch and his information, and I've been seeing him a lot recently. He's all over social media, even though this information is a little older, still very germane and very relevant. So let's give a listen to a little bit of his information.
5 deadline. That in fact this group of J-Rods that are not complying with the wishes of the committee and the wishes of the rest of the J-Rods and the...
Of course, J-Rod is an alien, or a kind of alien that was said to be at Area 51.
Associated brothers, to put a clamp on them so that they stop their influence within the political structures of our government, including the financial structures. That it is, in fact, their slowing down of the progress to stopping getting these, picking up these little gates that were put together. That would be our downfall in 2012. As I said to you at the Luxor, the Congress knows it's not in control. They know that this is a train, a wild train out of control. And they want that control back. They're not stupid. They know that there are things that are going on down the hall from them that they can't fathom. They deserve to have that back in their hands because that's what they were elected to do. And if we care at all about what's left of our Constitution, they deserve to have that in their hands.
So there you go. The aliens have some control, or did, over our financial institutions. Congress knows about them, and the Congress isn't stupid, and there were at that time, 2012 or thereabouts, plans in place to deal with the influence the beings were having over our financial sectors. He has a lot more to say. He says he can't talk about it unless he's in a closed sort of session, a skiff, I guess. He doesn't use the word skiff, but that seems to be what he's talking about. But yeah, really interesting information from somebody who may know what he's talking about. He claims to be an alien abductee or contactee since he was a child, and he went on to work at Area 51 with beings, again, according to him. I haven't seen any corroboration of any of his claims, but his claims have been getting a lot of attention lately online, so I thought I would bring them to your attention if you haven't heard them already. I don't know what to make of them. I'm not, persuaded that he's on the level, but I'm also not persuaded that he's full of bunk either. So I don't know what to make of him. I'm waiting for some sort of corroboration for his claims. But let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Maybe you've seen something, very likely, that I have not. Meanwhile, Brandon Fugle is making statements about the nature of the phenomenon at Skinwalker Ranch. He's commenting on this quote from John Keel, posted by Jacques Keel from Twitter, saying the phenomenon is reflective. The more frightened the victim becomes, the more the manifestations are escalated. And Brandon says to that, there is truth to this. The ranch appears to amplify whatever is introduced into the environment. We advise all those that enter to prepare themselves spiritually. We always offer prayer before entering the airspace and work to enter with a spirit of reverence and humility. Interesting. I guess it shouldn't be surprising that Brandon, a very religious person, takes a spiritual approach to precautions on Skinwalker Ranch. But spiritual rituals have had a significant impact on the phenomenon at the ranch. They had a shamanistic ritual a couple of seasons ago, and when they were doing that, 2 UFOs went right into the mesa. The mesa lit up as if it was being heated up. On another occasion, they had a rabbi perform a gateway, a portal opening ritual, and some stuff happened. So yeah, so definitely spiritual and shamanic practices have an influence on the ranch. It's really interesting that they take these spiritual precautions before going on the ranch at all to prevent these negative reflections like John Keel is talking about. Meanwhile, Chris Bledsoe is talking about what to expect in 2026, and he's saying 2026, not 2027.
This 2026 date, it's amazing to see everybody just claiming this every day now. 2026, 2027, that year. Something's going to happen. Well, let me tell you, in 2013, I was given that date by the lady about a future time that a new knowledge would come and the world was shifted to a time of peace afterward, but not without trouble. And that's what she told me, and along with a lot more. But I put it all in writing to a couple of generals at the Pentagon at request of someone from NASA, and it was delivered to them. And immediately they started remote viewing this thing and have been feverishly in every other avenue they have to look at these timelines. And they all come back saying something's going to happen at that time. There's going to be a big shift. Well, there is, but there's a big push to say it's the end of the world. This is going to happen. Well, nobody knows that. It's been twisted negative, and that's not what it was from her. So we'll see what happens then, but I think we're going to go through some much more strenuous times between now and then, and we'll come out the other side a different humanity with an understanding that, we're not alone, that this Darwin evolution thing was crazy to even suggest to start with. The most complex machine ever created is the human body. And for some scholar to say it just happened by an accident and that we all crawled out of a mud puddle, it's the lamest excuse I ever heard. It's like they don't have an answer, so they make such.
Okay, so yeah, he goes on, and whatever you think about evolution, he has some really interesting stuff to say about how we are not coming to the end of the world. That's not what the lady told him, but there may be some troubles before we get to that better place. And I've heard that again and again. The width and breadth of those troubles are what bother me. What are we talking about here? What do we have to go through to get to that better world? I guess we'll find out in the near future. But Chris Bledsoe has an optimistic take on 2026, 2027. So I wanted to bring that to you guys. Meanwhile, I keep seeing UFO videos of UFOs interacting with volcanoes. What's up with the UFOs' interest in volcanoes? Are they coming and going from, the inner Earth, that kind of thing? Are they drawing power from the volcanoes? Many people think their interest in nuclear facilities and our nuclear weapons is to draw power. Others think that they are, concerned about our use of nuclear weapons. Well, if that's the case, could they also be concerned about the destructive power of volcanoes? Or are they using it to come and go from somewhere? Let me know your theories about UFOs and volcanoes in the comments below. Meanwhile, a great find from Christopher Walford. Check this out. He says, oh boy, one has to wonder why the CIA has a facility at Wright Patterson Air Force Base. Is it because they, along with the U.S. Air Force, monitor UAP events across the globe and coordinate crash retrievals? Very interesting stuff. From an unclassified document showing that there's a CIA operation at Wright Patterson Air Force Base, which of course is said to be a hub of UFO activity, the government's response to UFO activity. Ross Coulthart has said that at one point, Wright Patterson Air Force Airfield was a veritable parking lot of UFOs. We've also heard that the Kandahar Giant is being stored at Wright Pat. So, I think the secrets of Wright Patterson are vast. And since the CIA seems to be a big player in the cover-up in the control group, I guess it should be no surprise that they have some involvement at Wright Patterson. But I thought that was super interesting, so let me know what you guys think. Meanwhile, New Paradigm Institute is continuing to push UFO disclosure in the halls of Congress and in politics in general.
Biden and Trump should both declare their position on disclosure. Everybody running for the Senate this year should tell the American public what's their position. The New Paradigm Institute is really engaged in the political process of not only assisting in the legislation, but also mobilizing the citizenry to put pressure
That, of course, is Jim Garrison, the director of the Washington, D.C. office of the New Paradigm Institute, talking about what they're doing right now, their various initiatives, trying to get politics engaged in UFOs. So could we actually get to a place where politicians are required to submit their views on UFOs before they go forward with a public political life? Could we get UFO questions, serious questions and serious answers at a presidential debate? Well, I don't know if we're going to get it this time. I mean, that'd be nice. Maybe we will. I mean, maybe they'll sneak in a UFO question at the next presidential election. Maybe some politicians will be, asked about this stuff, next time they do an interview. But even if we don't get it right now, I think the momentum is building, guys. There is a zeitgeist. There is a UFO zeitgeist gradually bubbling up from the surface. And even though we may not get it this time, I think we're going to get it soon. Meanwhile, Ross Coulthart is commenting on Dyson Spheres. Let's see what he has to say about Dyson Spheres.
Scientists say that the possibilities are really endless if these Dyson spheres exist, if humans can harness that technology. Well, what is it?
It's a wonderful idea, Elizabeth. Firstly, good morning. About 60 plus years ago, there was a physicist called Freeman Dyson who came up with a clever idea. And it was the idea that physicists, like the rest of us, are fascinated to know, are we alone? And so the way they look for life in the universe is they look for techno-signatures. They look for signs of something technological that might indicate there's an alien civilization out there. And Freeman Dyson came up with this idea that if there's a civilization advanced enough, it's probably a type 2 civilization that can harness the power of its star. And the way you would do that, he postulated, was by building a megastructure around that star to harness its energy. And theoretically, if there are such megastructures, you should be able to see the infrared radiation. And that's what they've been looking for in this new study. And they've found 7 of these weird stars with this rather unusual infrared radiation that at the moment can't be properly explained. And so one possible explanation is that it's an alien civilization using something like a megastructure to harness the energy of that star. It's actually quite exciting. My personal opinion, Elizabeth, is that we'll probably find life far closer to Earth, perhaps even on this planet, before we find alien megastructures. But it's nonetheless wonderful whimsy, and I love the idea that physicists are as keen as we are to find out, are we alone?
Yeah.
Yeah, old Dyson, he was full of whimsy. But Ross has a good point. The beings are already here. We don't really need to look for Dyson spheres and other megastructures. But, I mean, I don't, I used to think that the idea of the megastructures was really interesting, and hey, maybe that's the way they go about it. But then you learn about 0-point energy and stuff like that, and these UFOs they're going through dimensions. They have power sources that we can only dream of, and that some humans might actually be using right now. I don't think they need to harness the power of the sun in that way. Yeah, I don't think they need Dyson spheres. I honestly don't. But possibly there are beings out there that haven't reached that level of technology. They haven't discovered element 115 or 0-point energy or the like. And so maybe they do harness the power of stars. Totally possible. There could totally be megastructures out there, if I could only say it. But there are beings right here. They're in our own backyard. They're in the bottom of our oceans or, underground. They're coming and going from volcanoes. They're over our airfields and nuclear bases. They are interacting with humans both in positive and negative ways all the time. But I love that news reporters are now asking questions about Dyson spheres. Last but not least, a dog rides a dolphin. Man, that looks like a good day at the beach. Thank you, Chumples, for sending this to me. It's awesome. I love it. Let me know what you guys think about this video and everything else covered today in the comments below. And if you've enjoyed this video, please give me a big thumbs up. I sure appreciate it. Smash the like button, the subscribe button, and the bell to be notified of future videos. You don't want to miss a thing. Join me on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Discord, links below. Love to see you guys there. If you wanted to support Cosmic Road in a bigger way, consider grabbing a coffee mug or a t-shirt in the merch store below or by becoming a channel member. Channel members are rock stars, and I really appreciate you guys' support. Thank you so much. Also, channel members frequently get to see videos hours ahead of everybody else. Meanwhile, there are plenty of other videos on the channel, and I'll see you guys next time. This is Jack with Cosmic Road, signing out.